All right, thank you for coming, everyone. We're going to get started. I know I said 2:10 before, but because we only have this room until 3, we're going to try and get things started a little bit sooner. All right, so to start off, thank you everyone for coming. This is our first pre-alpha meeting. So to get right into it, our agenda today, pretty short meeting today. We don't have a lot to cover because it's a mid-sprint meeting. This is more going to be about sitting down and working with your pods and getting a chance to actually get some of your tasks done while we're all here. First we're going to talk a little bit about review process for different departments, what that looks like for the art department, like getting critique on concept art, for design, on different design proposals, things like that. Then we'll be giving just some quick reminders. I think we are doing another reminder about JIRA and something about, well, I guess this is more of an announcement about animators. We're looking for more animators, but I'll get to that later. And then we'll break off into our pod meetings. So let's get started with our review process. So in general, what we're kind of asking that people do is that they reach out and seek review and feedback for the work you're doing, rather than like expecting all of the leads to check all of the different art channels and such, or like the different preview channels in the Discord, reaching out to them in DMs or adding them on Discord specifically or adding them on JIRA just to make sure that they actually see your work. And if you don't get approval from someone, and you've waited a reasonable amount of time, say 24 hours or something, get started on your work. Take that as confirmation, just so that we can get more work done quickly. And the leads aren't being a bottleneck to you and your work. So moving on from there, the directors will be sort of looking over people's work, just sort of that the form and format fits our pipeline and workflow for the game. So for art specifically, this might be like checking that sprites are fitting the art style and things like that. And the actual content of whatever you make, so like if it's a design, rather than looking at like, if this is feasible, it would be like looking at, does this fit our game and the tone that we're going for? All right, so for art and art critique, so we're probably going to be starting with concept art for everything. Some of you have already done a bit of concept art, but we wanted to clarify some things about concept art and what that workflow looks like. So really the important thing with concept art is quantity over quality. You're not supposed to spend a large amount of time on the concept art that you're making for this game. The idea is to just pump out things very quickly, just 5-minute thumbnail sketches, so that's like 2 or 3 inches wide. Nothing huge. Don't do like a full page and spend an hour on it, because if your idea doesn't fit with the game, we don't want to waste that hour of your work. It's much better if you only spend 5 minutes doing several different designs than an hour doing one. So like I said before, the directors are kind of going to be looking over the form and format of whatever art that you would create. So like, does it fit the art style? Are the layers set up correctly? Is this an animatable sprite? Things like that. Whereas, as I said before, the pod lead or Alex would be looking at the actual content. Does this fit with our narrative? Things like that. So a little bit about thumbnail sketches, just to go into that a little more. They're very quick and dirty. So I have an example here from Dreamwillow, our game last semester. See how this is very low detailed, the lines aren't cleaned up at all, and that's the point. It's supposed to be very quick, very dirty. This probably didn't take more than 10 minutes. And then to the right, I have a very quick sketch that I pulled from Google showing to the left what a thumbnail sketch looks like and then the final art. We don't want you to send that final art to us. Just that quick and dirty thumbnail sketch that shows the pose, sort of a couple hints at what the jacket that they're wearing is, that they're wearing a tie, and just the overall generalness of the design, rather than getting into the nitty-gritty of what are the colors, things like that. So that's thumbnail sketches. Okay, moving on. So for design, what this kind of looks like is you make your rough ideas and you're pitching those ideas to your pod lead. And then once you have a solidified lead idea, like a lead approved idea, if you've worked with your lead, they like where you're going with it, then reach out to Alex and get his approval, but not until you've already talked to your lead. Just so that way we're not wasting anyone's time. All right, moving on. So the audio review process is a bit more straightforward. This is just, that's mainly because the audio team members will be working more closely with their director, Faulkner, so they don't have to worry as much about this, and also because they'll be posting all of their finished products to the JIRA. So not as much review here. It's just will kind of come as it goes. All right, so that's it for the review process. So now a bit of a call for animators. I'm going to leave this up for maybe 30 seconds or a minute or so. This is just, we're looking for people who would be interested in doing animation for the project for this semester, or teaching animation to people maybe that's making documentation on Confluence, or if that's just reaching out individually and trying to sit down and teach people one-on-one, or making tutorials on YouTube, things like that. Anyone who has skills in animation. And even if you don't have skills in animation, we're looking for people who would want to work primarily as animators on the project, just because we have very few animators at the moment. Yes?
Are there any review processes for programmers, or should we just stay tuned to the Discord?
Because the way that the Bitbucket works is that you mainly, the only way that most people can merge into development is through a pull request. It means that there will implicitly always be review for it, because there's default reviewers and things like that. So you'll always have your code being reviewed. That's a good question.
Anyone else have any questions before we move on? All right. I'll give just a few more seconds for people to pull up this link if they feel like it. Okay, that's probably enough. We'll be sending out these slides later. If anyone didn't get a chance to pull up this link, that's okay, or whatever, if you want to send it to a friend, things like that. All right, moving on. So this is just a reminder, please use the JIRA. Everyone in the team is expected to be using JIRA. If you look at our burn down chart right now, so if you remember from last week's meeting, that's like how many tasks we have to do and how long we have left to do it. It is not looking good. We are halfway through the sprint and nowhere near halfway through our tasks. So yeah, if you just haven't been using it, but you've started on your tasks, please update the tasks as you go. Make sure to move them into at least in progress once you've at least started on it, and then to review later and such. Yeah, also, yes, commenting. So once you've gotten some work done on something, if you want a review on it, comment like a screenshot of whatever you've worked on, or like a link or upload a file attachment or a video or whatever is relevant to the task that you're working on, just to show any of your reviewers what you have been working on. Yeah. All right. So also a reminder, check the Confluence, look at that, write up documentation when you finish things, stuff like that. Just please use these products. This is how we are going to be communicating and working as a team. So, all right, so this meeting is wrapped up pretty quickly, so I just have a couple more announcements / reminders. So first off, we have decided to switch from making the floating field area, which was the area where it was very calm, not a lot of enemies, not a lot of combat, to the windmill fort area, which kind of had some backtracking throughout the level and had some non-linearity to it and additional environment elements to it with enabling the different windmills. Just because we felt, one, that that's a more interesting level for people to play through, and two, having that combat there is going to have a better flow to the game, just as if we were to have one level where you have combat, then a level with no combat, and then a boss, it would be a bit odd and not seem to fit as well. So we decided to place that off until later into development if we have time for it. Also, just another reminder, please check the Atlassian products. That's, like I said before, very important. Please sign up if you're not already on them. Check your email, we sent that out. Additionally, these meetings, they're here, they're now, you're here. You all know that. Please remember that for next week. I'm sure no one will forget, but. Also, email the studio email if you have any questions, or message me on Discord. Yeah. All right, I think that is all that I have for y'all. So we are now going to break off into pod meetings. So thank you, everyone.
So yeah, we want to encourage people, especially since we have so much time, to use this to actually work with your pod, and like not just have conversations, but actually sit down and do work. We have EECS 1303 reserved, and this room until, technically until 3. So feel free to work there, find anywhere else, whatever.